Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Super Sunday. We are live and we're feeling good. So thank you for tuning in, guys. Look, before we get started, I need you guys to help me by subscribing, liking the video, and hitting that bell. With the YouTube algorithms, uh, it basically uses these different algorithms to help boost your channel. And by subscribing and hitting the like button or the bell button, it just shows YouTube that you like the content and it helps my channel grow. So I would appreciate if you could help my channel grow. So let me just go ahead and tweet this out on Twitter that we are live, so that way everybody else can kind of just jump on board. So while we get people to join in, that would be great. So give me let's just share if all of you guys could also, whoever is watching right now, if you guys could go ahead and share this, so that way people can go ahead and alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi barakatuhu. Irfan, welcome to the room, or a session here, the live session. I'm just going ahead and tweeting this out so that everybody on Twitter can be in on the action. So just tweeting that out. Hope you guys are having a good Sunday and all of that good stuff. One moment here. I am... Hold on here. Alaikum assalam. Welcome to the chat, guys. Hold on here. If you guys could retweet and send it out, that will be phenomenal. I would appreciate it. So that'd be great. Today is, Sundays, I just randomly come out and talk about stuff. So it's going to be a little bit of randomness. So it's nothing too planned, but I figured what we would do is, we would talk about these things and then eventually at the end, I go ahead and make the description for all the stuff. So welcome to the guys. Let me see here. Let's just put some people out here real quick. We got Arfan, who joined in. Welcome. Assalamu alaikum. We've got Ibn Deen, 978. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. We have Uraharaz Shop. Welcome. By the way, what a crazy icon that is. No notifications. I don't know. We've got Jay Perez coming out. Alhamdulillah. Welcome to the show. And then we've got Malik Badwinner. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the show. Pleasure to have all you guys here. It's great. So look, today is Super Sunday, so we're going to talk about random things. Yesterday we did a show with Samir Eats, who does a blog. Let me just move this mic a little bit closer. That'll probably be better for you guys. Yeah. So we did a live session yesterday with Samir Eats, and he has a blog where he goes around, he tries all these different halal foods, and it was awesome. I mean, the guy is dope. I mean, really cool stories, and it was a pretty good show. So I don't have any follow-up comments on that yet, but I know there has been a couple of things going on. I don't know how many of you guys follow that whole saga between Daniel Hakikachu and the Yaqeen Institute. And that whole thing. I was watching some of the videos. Now, I quietly don't, I personally don't really know what's going on. Oh, we have a good friend here who's joined in, Mr. Harun Ahmed Iftikhar. He's joined in, a good old friend of mine. Speaking of this individual here, I have to say one thing. Some of you guys saw the other episode we did on the HT Hizb al-Tahrir, and at some point I dabbled with them, and it was because of this brother that I actually he pulled me out of my jahiliyyah. Like I used to go around and do horrible things, and what he would do is, and subhanallah, every time I would go out, like I'd be at college, I'll be talking to some girls or whatever it is, and he would come out of the woodwork and be like, I see you. I see what you're doing. Come on, come with me. Let's go pray. And he would always remind me. And then it got to a point where it became such a nuisance that, he became a friend. And then it just kind of became like he just never let up. And it was because of him that he pulled a lot of us away from that lifestyle. And then ultimately that was when HT was kind of big in the scene here in Chicago, and then he ended up pulling us into that, and long story short, but so this is the guy that literally wouldn't abandon us. This is the guy that is on your team forever. So alhamdulillah, welcome to the show. Subhanallah, may Allah rectify their situation and unite them. I mean, I hope they can. I watched Sajid Lipham's video about it, and I see where he's coming from, but I also see where the Yaqeen guys are coming from too, right? Like I see both sides, and I don't care to pick a side in this, right? Because for me, the way I look at this is, let's have a real conversation here. At the end of the day, the average layman, the common Muslim, isn't caring about this. They don't know Yaqeen Institute. They don't know Daniel Haqiqachu. I mean, people are leaving their religion, right? So let's just be honest about that. They're leaving their religion, and they're not really, and they're not really, focused on these trivial matters, which is what is trivial to them, right? Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Amir, welcome to the show. Good to have you guys. Wow, this is great, man. You guys all came in right early on. I guess this is the benefit of having a daily weekly show. So this is pretty good. Yeah, so I believe that these things need to be done in a more private setting, because I think it's going to expose regular common Muslims to things and problems that they didn't know existed, and then it's going to kind of turn them away from the religion, right? And that's the last thing that we want. We don't want them to just move away from religion because they feel like, oh my God, there's so much drama and the Muslims won't be united. You know what I mean? And that's the problem. Let's look at this comment here. Ibn Deen 78 says, we do need more transparency and accountability of our Muslim Dawah organizations, though. Yeah, I can agree with that. I mean, I think especially when you're making monetary contributions, you should know where that money is being spent and what they're doing with that money and what their ideas are. Like, what is their end goal? I mean, ultimately, everybody says our end goal is to make da'wah for Islam and to, to spread the message of Islam and create an environment. But in reality, everybody has some kind of agenda, right? Whether that be for the aqidah you're pushing or for whatever it may be. I mean, ultimately, we can justify that by saying it is Quran and Sunnah. But at the end of the day, this is what it is, Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, floating man. Good to see you. Welcome to the show, brother. A pleasure to have you guys here. But like I said, so I do think that there has to be some rectification in some way. But I don't want to spend too much time on that because, a lot of other people are talking about, what's going on. With that. And I don't personally feel that I have to make, too much commentary on that. I'm a layman. I'm a stupid guy. I just rant and talk about stuff that I feel like are relevant. But I don't think that's in my realm. Like that's not in my expertise, and I'm gonna leave it to them because it gets into a very academic discussion, which I try to move away from. I don't want to be in there. But I don't know. There are a couple of things. I did see a video on what you call on YouTube, and I found it to be kind of interesting. It was actually a brother had uploaded this. Maybe we can watch this together, and then maybe we can react to this because this is very interesting. Let me pull up out of my playlist because I have a playlist for stuff that I need to react to, and I got stuff that I got to do, and I haven't had time yet because I'm like in this Chicago COVID situation where I just haven't had the ability to be able to just get in the studio and do all these things. But we'll take a look at this. Let me see. Apparently, here is the video. Let me just let it load here, and then once it loads, we'll go ahead and play it here. Okay, so let me do a screen share here, and maybe we can watch this here. Okay, screen share, and I want to do a Chrome tab, and let's do this one here. I'm going to share the audio. Okay, so here's the audio. Let's check this out. Apparently this brother uploaded this video.
يعني المسلمين ما يعيشون بامان. طبعا لهم حق يدافعون عن نفسهم، لهم حق. بورما، شوف البورما المذابح الاسلاميه
ان شاء الله. بس ما تدعي اقول لك شغله. هو لو تتكلمون عن ستالين او تتكلمون، هسه انا واحد من الناس لو استلمت السلطه اعتقد اسوي بيكم العن من هتلر.
So what this guy is saying right now is that what he's gonna do to the these are ex-Muslims that are talking in Arabic. Okay, it's Iraqi. You can tell by his accent he's an Iraqi guy. And what they're doing is these are ex-Muslims on some kind of show. I don't know where they're talking. By the way, in the background, if you can see his his banner, it says Al Harriya, which means that he's free, apparently, right? Whatever that means. But I don't know what he thinks he is, a rapper or something. He's got his little funny little hat on, and he's, I don't know what he's doing. But anyways, point being is that he is basically saying that if he could be if people think that Stalin is bad, I would be like Hitler. And he's basically advocating that if he had the power to kill Muslims, that he would do it. Right, so keep that in mind. We'll come back to that. Let's continue the video for a moment because I'll come back to this comment, which is interesting. So let's play.
يعني لا تزعل إذا أنا صرت يوم من الأيام يعني إلي سلطة وقوة، راح أطبق عليكم عشرات أضعاف ما طبقه هتلر على اليهود. صدق وثق. وما راح تنزل دمعة. راح أبلش بأهلي قبل ما أبلش.
والنصر إلا من عند الله.
اسمع.
You see, he's saying that. He's saying that basically that if he had the ability to do it, he would kill Muslims 10 times worse than the way Hitler killed the Jews. And then he's saying that he would start with his own family first. Like that's the insanity of this idiot.
وراح أبلش بأهلي قبل ما أبلش بالغريب.
يقربون أولى بالمعروف
ويقربون أولى بالمعروف. وأنا رجل ما أؤمن لا بالحياة بعد الموت ماكو شيء اسمه عدالة. لا يوجد إله ولا توجد حياة بعد الموت. فأنا من مصلحتي أني أقضي عليكم.
أنت رأيك هذا رأيك.
لا مو رأيي، أنا من مصلحتي ومن مصلحة الإنسانية أنه نقضي عليكم ونمحيكم محي من الوجود. هذا عمل إنساني، يعني التخلص من المسلم عمل إنساني. لكن المشكلة ان احنا مقيدين بالعلمانية الإنسانية. الشياطين هم مو شيطان.
So this is funny. He's trying to say that he would have killed. First of all, he's saying you don't need God. You don't need to worry about the afterlife, anything. And he believes that killing Muslims in the world, all the Muslims, 1.5 billion Muslims, would be a act of mercy and not mercy, human, like an act of humanity. Right, but here's the crazy thing. Then he goes on to say that, but because of the secular humanists, we're unable to do so. So think about how that sounds, right? That man is invoking humanity. He wants to kill Muslims out of his decency or out of his humanness because he wants to, for humanity. But yet the people who believe in humanity today are not allowing him to do so. So yet, do you see the problem there? Like humanists, true humanists don't want a a rampaging, bloody murderer to go out and to do these things, right? And it's crazy. That hold on, let me just I'm getting a middle call here. So yeah, I mean, it's crazy how that you would allow this guy to, if he had the power to kill Muslims, he would do it out of the quote love for humanity, but the true humanists today who care about humanity are preventing him. And this goes on to show you the stupidity of these people. Like and you notice that he doesn't even realize that he's carrying on thinking that he's actually doing something good, right? Let's continue for a minute. I want to play the rest of this here.
هم شياطين عددهم 1.5 مليار شيطان حول العالم. هذول لابد من القضاء عليهم ومحوهم. نعم.
So basically, he's saying that, you know what? He ended up saying basically that this is like let me stop the screen share here. Okay. Yeah, so basically he's going on to say that, you know what, that, you know, he is doing it because they have to be, these are devils, right? These are devils on the earth, right? But hold on, let's rewind a minute. Didn't he say that there is no reason to believe in God or an afterlife or anything? Why would you believe in devils if you don't believe in the afterlife? I mean, isn't that a complete contradiction here? But this is the kind of stupidity that ends up coming out for some reason. And I'll be honest here, most likely, like he says, like my friend here, Harun says, most likely I'm going to go out on a limb here and say he probably was a Shiite. A lot of them have this animosity towards Muslims, and majority who happen to be Sunni, and they learn this stuff when they come to the West. They feel like they have to be anti-Islam because it makes them more American. They don't realize that people who are born in America as Muslims, I don't feel like I have to be anything or anybody. I just have to feel like I have to be myself, right? This man is trying to appeal to people. They think that they're being, and notice that sign he had in the back, Al-Hurriya. He's trying to say, basically, he's trying to imply that he is free and that's why he can talk this way, right? Meaning that, you know, if he was under some entrapment, he wouldn't be able to speak the truth, so-called the truth in his mind. But I don't know how you guys feel about that. I mean, I saw that in the video, in the pop-up videos that came, and so I saw it and I wanted to react to it. I don't think there's much to really react to, but it was pretty stupid. You know, but let's see what we have a comment here. Let's take a look at this one. Here we go. There we go. He is honest. An atheist has no objective morality to stop him from doing such. Well, that is true, but I'm not necessarily convinced of the argument that an atheist has no morality. I've met plenty of moral atheists who do abide by a moral principle. Now, the problem is that morality becomes subjective when we start arguing about what is good, right? Well, how do we define good? You know, for I mean, just for an example, 100 years ago, it was considered good to enslave Black people, right? It was considered a very Christian thing. It was considered to be a very righteous thing and a position of honor to defend your people and to cleanse the land of people that didn't belong there, right? That was a quote unquote good thing to do for them, right? But now, how do we do that? You know what I mean? Like but now we look at now and we don't do that anymore, right? We say, listen, that is clearly immoral. So obviously something good has to come from a higher place. It has to come from a place that is from which we believe, obviously, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It comes from a revelation he gives to us, and it comes from him, and we understand good and evil based on that. But for the atheist, the morality is completely subjective. I mean, for example, if you walk up to an atheist, or let's say a person who doesn't believe in religious morality, including atheists, and you ask them, hey, what would be, would you allow incestuous marriages? Now, I guarantee you 90%, now this is just, my own opinion, no facts behind it, but I can almost guarantee that 90% of these people would have a knee-jerk reaction and say, oh my God, are you kidding me? Incest? What are you talking about? Ill, right? But when you now you break it down and ask them, well, what's the problem? And they will say, oh, it's growth. It's your mother or your sister, your brother, right? Well, you say, but people want the right to love, right? So why would you be opposed to that? Then the next argument they probably would say, well, because, offspring from incestuous marriages have, higher risk of birth defects and things like that and passing on genetic diseases. So then you say, you know what? How about if it's just two people who love each other? They don't want to have any children. They just love each other. Now what? Would you be against that marriage? And I guarantee you, if that atheist is truly upon his principles, then he'll have to admit that he'd be okay with incestuous marriages. Now, if he has some morality within him, he's gonna say, well, you know what? I just can't get down with that. Right. And that's how you look at that. Right. I mean, I feel like that morality changes for them because they don't have a foundation. They don't know what they're going to be accountable for. There is no accountability, right? And that's part of where this comes from. Let's look at this guy here. They think that the white man will accept them, but they only respecting one thing. Yeah, it's money. It is what it is. Amr says, I think he saw a Tupac video from the 1990s and thought it was the current trend in style. Yeah, maybe. Maybe he thinks he's living thug life in America. Maybe, he's doing that. Let's see here. Floaty Man says they don't understand how normal Westerners are actually crying out for spirituality / moral conservatism and the solutions Islam can give them for many of the problems that exist in society today. Absolutely, I agree with that. I think that there are certain things that we have to make sure that we communicate to the general public, because there are a lot of people who are spiritually suffering. They don't realize that this is Islam and even spirituality in general is something that a lot of people crave for, but they don't even realize they're craving, right? I mean, how many times have you guys heard from a revert story that the revert says, you know what? Many times I was a Muslim before I knew it, right? I mean, I agreed with all of these things before I even knew what Islam was. And then when they found out about Islam, it was a natural thing for them to become Muslims. Why? Because they already agreed with this from their innate nature, from their fitrah. And that's what we say in Islam. A lot of times people make the mistake and say that people are born Muslims. And I don't believe that people necessarily are born Muslims. They are born with fitrah. And that fitrah, if they're left to their own fitrah, they will eventually come to the understanding of worshiping one God and to follow what Islam has brought to them, right? But it's their parents and their environment and their peers and their community that ultimately end up changing their fitrah or influencing them and taking them away from their fitrah. And so that's why when they come back to their fitrah, we say they're coming back to Islam. They're coming back to their natural disposition. That's how I feel about it. Let me see here what Samuel Master says. Welcome. Dawah is not a priority for the community in America, unfortunately, nor is after Shahada convert-specific training. Very good point. Actually, I would say more so than the Dawah. I'm more concerned about what happens to the Muslim who reverts to Islam and then he is abandoning everything for Islam. Like if you've noticed, before a person is about to become a Muslim, the community overwhelmingly comes out, oh, be a Muslim, it's a family, we love you, everything is there, we have brotherhood, there's no racism in Islam, there's no this, there's no that, and all the way up until they're pushing them to take the Shahada. Now, these people have argued with their family, with their spouses, with their children, wrestled with their own spirituality, and abandoned and gave up on Allah in order to be Muslim. And the minute they say the Shahada, everybody walks out of the masajid, and these people are left to deal with these problems on their own. And that is very, very problematic. That is part of the reason why many of these Muslim converts who have converted or reverts have converted to Islam, they end up leaving Islam. It's not because they don't believe Islam is the truth. It's because of our own deficiency and the fact that we don't actually have an outreach for them. We don't have a community for them, right? And, it's very tough. And I get it. I'm not going to blame all the Muslims in America and places here because, it is tough to provide a support network and system, especially when different massajids in the community are already suffering from poor donations and the inability to stay open and create other programs, and, the economic situations of different people. Of course, all of that is very difficult, right? But at the same time, there should be an effort. There should be an effort to invite them. How hard is it? What I try to do during Ramadan? I try to say, what, on Ramadan, if you are a reaver, I tweet out, I message out anyone I can message on the phone. If you are alone on Eid, on any of the Eidain, then come and spend it with me. Right? At least you can do that. At least you can offer a meal. At least you can make them feel like they're appreciated. At least you can reach out to them and make them feel like someone's thinking about them. That's the least we could do, right? I mean, at the very least, right? So I think that let's try to do that this Ramadan and this next Eid coming up after this Eid. I want you guys to do that. Tweet out or Facebook, post whatever that you are willing to spend a day, with a revert. If they need to, they are welcome to your home. Allow them to come in and spend time with you. Let them feel that they have a family, because that's important, right? They miss out on Christmas. They miss out on, Hanukkah or any other holiday they had. They missed these things. They intentionally gave these things up for the sake of Islam. So, we should make an effort if we truly believe they are like families to do so. So I believe that. So let me see here some of the comments. Joe Rogan moving the text about a bigger impetus for the likelihood. Yeah, maybe, exactly. It should be. But again, I think Joe Rogan has a certain kind of Muslim he wants to bring on the show. Unfortunately, I know he's had Firas Zahabi, who's been phenomenal on that show, but unfortunately, Joe Rogan doesn't want to talk about Islam with him. But I believe that Joe Rogan needs to have a Muslim guy on the podcast that can speak on behalf of Muslims. I think it's important. Let me see this. What Samuel said. Yeah, I took Shahada in 2003. No care, etc. Things haven't changed much, but luckily YouTube got lucky. Yeah, I mean, look, here's the thing. It should change, though, right? And I'll be honest, Samuel, from my perspective, that's not okay, right? It shouldn't be like that. And I don't know where you are, but if you happen to be in Chicago or New York and you need someone, if you ever want to come up or if you ever run the area, let me know, and you are welcome to stay with me and to chop it up with me. I'd love to have you. You guys are an honor to us. I don't think a lot of people realize that, but to leave many of these brothers and sisters of revert to Islam, they did things that are unimaginable. Who knows where we would be if we were not given the blessing of being born to Muslim parents? How many of us would actually take that time to study a religion and to understand the religion, and then to make that decision to turn on everything you've known your whole life and then become a Muslim? Not many of us. Wallahu alam, but not many of us. And so Allah has honored these people. When he made them Muslim, he honored them. He took them from a few of Bani Adam and he allowed them and he guided them and he made them, Muslims for a reason, because there's goodness in them. So it's an honor. So if you have any reverts around you, sure, we all have our shortcomings. And I mean, I know people may have stereotypes of different groups. Reverts may have stereotypes of born Muslims. Born Muslims may have stereotypes of reverts. But at the end of the day, we all have shortcomings, right? You can look past that, right? A lot of these stereotypes come because you don't have an understanding. And the only way to get an understanding is to actually start talking. Open that line of communication, make the effort. That is just the bottom line. I'm trying to work on something. There's a brother out in North Carolina who started the redneck Muslims thing. He changed it to Southern Comfort, I think Southern Hospitality Muslim or something like that, Islamic Center or something. I want to get him on the show because I want that experience. I want to know the experience of, converts in that particular area, in that space, who are quote unquote rednecks, who have become Muslim, and the challenges they have. And I'm sure they have had certain pushback from the community, right? And that to me is an area that we need to focus on. It's nice. I'm not saying we shouldn't make dawah to non-Muslims. That's good. Everybody has their purpose, right? But I feel like my attention I would rather focus my attention on my brother who is a Muslim already, who has issues and is suffering, right? To me, that's more of an importance to me, in my opinion. But Muhammad Hijab would be good for Muhammad Hijab would be good for Joe Rogan. I heard I think Way of Life SQ was talking about how Logan Paul or something, one of these guys was gonna bring somebody on the show, a Muslim, on his podcast or something like that. I saw one of his episodes, and that would be good. I mean, I hope, inshallah, whoever gets on that show, inshallah, they do, they're able to present the arguments for Islam, and at least not even to make them Muslims, but just so that they give them an opportunity to hear the other side of what Islam is, right? And break that ice, break that barrier. So inshallah. So yeah, I mean, that is, I mean, where we are right now. I mean, I think these are, and this kind of ties back to why I don't really get involved with the drama like that's going on between Yaqeen and Haqiqatu. I mean, don't get me wrong, I have my opinions, but I feel like my opinions are not, if I share them, they're not going to be put to good use, right? It's not, meaning I feel like I would cause more divide. And my opinions are my opinions, and I have them, but I need to be careful because I don't want to be using my opinions. I don't want my opinions to be used to further create divide and then, are already, further divide a Muslim community that's already divided, right? I would rather let them work it out, because sometimes in any problem, the more and more people you have chiming in, the more and more it becomes, it becomes worse and worse, essentially, right? And so I don't want to end up doing that. So I hope they're able to work that out. Let me see here. We have a comment from Abdul Majid Tawil. Assalamu alaikum. We also need to pay attention that it was until 2001 when there was an explosion in growth of reverts. You can't expect us to do everything perfect in just 19 years. Yes and no. So there are people that may be true for where you live, Abdul Majid, but the thing is, here's the thing. My parents have been here since the 1960s, right? Many of us who are in Chicago and New York have families that have been here for a long time. And we have set up communities, and we have multi-million-dollar masajids, right? We have, a couple $100,000 chandeliers, right? We've got basketball courts in our masajids with like brand new tile wood flooring that comes out from professional buildings, right? Professional basketball courts. I think stuff like that, while I'm not saying we shouldn't have them, but some of that money can be diverted to reaching out to new Muslims. And, for example, we have a Why Islam campaign, right? And that's, mashallah, it's great. It generates a lot of money for ad campaigns and for this and for that. What if we took a little bit of money out of that, right? And we put that into developing a center, for Muslims that are new. And or making or family building, or by the way, At-Tayyiba Foundation, which Sheikh Rami Unsur he has out in California, we've had him on the show. He does a great job. He has reverts in prison that he not only sends books to, educates them. When they get out of prison, they have a place to stay. He helps them get a job. That kind of stuff is amazing to me. Right. And specifically about prior to 2001, we as a Muslim community have failed the Black African American Muslim community as well, too, for a large part, even before 2001. So I think, it's easy. I get what you're saying, and it may be true for you and for people that that you guys are recent to America. And that's perfectly fine. Alhamdulillah, you're doing what you can do, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you and give you tawfiq to do even more. But there are some of us, and I'm speaking about myself, or I could be doing more, right? And this is a reminder to myself too. It's not just other Muslims. There are people who have been born and raised in this country, right? That are financially set, that are, that have been part of a larger community. In my area, we have 10 masajids within a 5-mile radius, which is huge, right? I mean, there's a lot of money, and in the community that I live in places like Dallas and New York and Miami and Boca and Orlando, Houston, Muslims have a significant amount of wealth, right? They have a lot of money. Oh, okay, you're from the Netherlands. Okay, that's a different story. The Netherlands is a whole different story, and Europe is facing a lot of backlash. Of course, I understand. You know what? Let me comment on that. I think, and this is no offense to any of the people in the Netherlands, but I think majority of the Muslims that ended up in Europe early on, aside from the UK, they were going there for a better life, and they don't have as much to start off with. Like, they're already struggling to make ends meet, and now they are forced with having to be Muslims in this community, and now they're first trying to build up their own community first before they can go out to others. And I think that means like establishing a full-time school and having a masajid, regular established prayer and things like that. These are more difficult, I think, for this community. Whereas in America, we kind of have an establishment already, established communities that have been here since the 1900s, right? I mean, some of the early Arab Muslims, they came in the 1900s. Some of the Albanian and Bosnians, they came in the early 1900s. So we've had some presence in America for a little while. And I think that's also a better example would also be like the UK. The UK Muslims have a better or have a more advantage than the US Muslims, right? They're a strong community out there. Especially in terms of their rights and what they've achieved and the schools and customs and even dietary laws. And they are a much stronger and developed community than the American community is. And that is partly because they are more concentrated. In the US, we are a huge country. I don't think many people who are outside of America realize how big America is, right? And that means that we are ultimately spread out. So we have more of an effort to put in. But let me see here. Let me see. Most of their ancestors were laymen, so they did not have much to pass on Islamic-wise. Yeah, that's true. What I want to see is a widespread da'wah activity like we saw in Bangladesh and India from back in the day. That would be good. Inshallah. Hopefully, we can do that. Yes, actually, me and Yoram von Karam or Cleffin, not Karam, I think Cleffin. We've been talking. I met him at RIS in Canada. He's gonna be a guest on the show very, very soon. We just gotta coordinate it. But I got him coming on the show, inshallah. I think he has an amazing story about how he became a Muslim. He is from the Emir Stein Institute, I think, that's the institute they set up in the Netherlands for Islam and for the advocacy of Islam there. But yeah, inshallah, I hope to get him very, very, very soon. We communicated on Twitter a few times, and inshallah, that'll be a good thing. Let me see what Amir says. I agree the struggles of converts should be facilitated to the best of our abilities. My personal observation, when I reflect on many cities, the majority of the Muslim population is MIA, so missing in action, absolutely. And many of them, when you dig in their situation, isn't greener on that side. I agree. I mean, I think the only way we can really solve this problem is by self-reflection and in looking internally to find out what we need to do to fix that. Because if we don't, then we're going to keep making the same mistake over and over and over again. So that is my take on that. Anybody else have anything that I want to discuss? I'm gonna try to keep these live sessions not too long because I feel like a lot of people don't listen for a long time. So I'm gonna try to keep them under 45 minutes. So let me know. Do you guys have anything else you guys want me to hit on today or anything else? I know there's gonna be some other content. By the way, if you guys want me to touch on something, make sure you tweet at me and get at me on Twitter or Facebook or whatever, because I'll talk about that on the show. Right. Rather than having to bring it up randomly in the text here, I can actually plan to talk about something or address it in a more thorough way. But make sure you tweet at me every Sundays at 2 p.m. Central, 3 p.m. Eastern. I'll be live with the show. But it's best if you get the questions, comments, reaction stuff you want me to do prior to me, like maybe a couple days before at least minimum, so I can get to that. Yeah, I know floating. I know a lot of people prefer the long videos, but you know, I get that most people don't. But yeah, so that's a good idea. So Uraha, let's yeah, you know what? I'm gonna talk about this. Good point. So this topic I'm gonna touch on a next live session. All right, that'll be on Sunday because I want to do a deep analysis on this, and I want to do the comparison on this with what some of our African American brothers have gone through and how they have, you know, how they were able to do certain things within that you know, using this understanding about supporting Black only businesses, and now what you're bringing up is supporting Muslim only businesses. So yes, Loon was released. By the way, I did reach out to him. Inshallah, he comes out. If anyone out there knows Loon or has a direct contact with him, reach out, you know, put a good word in for me. I'm a little nobody. I have a small channel. Oh, guys, I need you guys to help me grow my channel. What I mean by that is you guys have to retweet my videos, retweet my comments, whatever. I need this channel to grow because now I'm actually dedicating Sundays to this channel. Before it was kind of a random thing, but now I feel like I need to really put effort into the channel, and I really want to do that. There's a lot of people. I got this whole new StreamYard thing where I can now bring on guests, and I plan to do that. And hopefully I'm going to bring some of the other guys like Maheen and Sim and Sheikh Amr along, and we're going to do some things where we're going to do a commentary on some of our old episodes that we've done and some of our feelings and reflections, you know, in hindsight, things like that, like what we feel like now after having gone through a few of these episodes. But yeah, inshallah, we need an American Wali Sango. Yeah, maybe. Absolutely. I can agree with that, man. Yes, Loon is an inspirational figure, mashallah, tabarakallah. You know, Allah tested him, and we ask that Allah Azza wa Jal, you know, ease his suffering and keep him firm on his religion, even though all these people are trying to now, you know, attack him and to make it difficult for him. But now he's released, so inshallah, his life gets easier and easier. Many have left Islam due to divisions and disagreements in the deen. What can the solution be? Well, I feel like that the solution should be that we focus on building up new Muslims and keeping them away from the sectarian arguments of that aqidah is wrong, this is shirk, that is bid'ah, this is, you know, I mean, many times people teach them about other groups before they even teach them about Islam or even how to read the Quran, right? Focus on the core of Islam. Leave the refutations. Leave that jarah wa ta'dil to the scholars and to the ulama. Let them fight each other. You don't have to be concerned with that. They are qualified to do that, right? At the end of the day, many of these people are reading articles about, you know, refutations, but they're not even praying on time. They're not even waking up for Fajr, right? What good is reading all that, right? We need to build that part of us first. I'm not saying that there's no place and time, no time and place for that. If you want to read that on your own time, fine. But keep those opinions to yourself, because what you're going to do is you're going to confuse other people, or you're going to confuse yourself. Wallahi, there's no benefit in talking about these things, especially when other people are already doing it, right? Like, there are qualified people who get into it. A lot of times we feel like, you know what, I have to say something. It's my opinion, right? Okay, and if you feel that way, right, say it one time. Don't address that person directly. Make a general video, make a general comment about the issue, and then address it, and that's it. Leave it, right? But to go on and to drag other people through the mud with this, and then to continue and to bring other people, especially who don't know enough about their religion, to bring them into it, is not a good look. And that's, you know, how we need to. That's just my opinion. I think we need to focus on the basics, focus on brotherhood, focus on building a community, right? Grassroots stuff. That's what we need to do. Make them feel like that they've entered something, you know, a community that cares for them, a community that not only cares about their akhirah but also their dunya in both ways, right? That is an important thing, and I think by doing that, you know, you build that bond of brotherhood, and that is something that you can't replace. right? So that's how I feel about that. Anyways, good comments. Thank you everyone for joining in. A lot of you joined in early today, and I love that. I think it's amazing. I I feel like that we did a good, short, powerful session here. It's like a little powwow. But inshallah, next Sunday we're gonna talk about the comment about this comment here. Oh, I'm sorry. Nope, this comment here. We're going to talk about whether Muslims should spend their money on Muslim businesses only and the benefit of that. So, inshallah, we'll talk about other things than that later on. If there are any videos you want me to react to, make sure you get that to me in my inbox somehow on Twitter, or you can even email me. It's the muzzybuzzshow@gmail.com. I'll put that in the link here, but you can also mail me on YouTube or even on Twitter. But with that being said, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to, essentially help me out here. Tweet it out. Get everybody to listen. Tell your mama to listen. Whatever it may be, get your little kid to subscribe. Anybody. Help me out here, and let's build this channel, because I want this to be an interactive channel. I don't want it just to be me ranting about stuff and trying to tell you guys what to do and blah blah blah, because I want to learn too. And I feel like everybody has a perspective, everybody has an opinion. And I'm a layman just like everybody else who's probably listening to me is a layman. I apologize if you're not, but I have a lot to learn from you guys, and you have a lot to learn from me. So let's keep it like that, inshallah, and help me build this channel. We can build it together. With that being said, thank you for tuning in. Stay safe. Make sure you guys, take all the precautions in this COVID world we're living in, and stay safe. Inshallah, we will catch you on the flip. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.